Hello, hello, Facebook. I think I'm live here. Here we go. We're live. Welcome, Facebook. Welcome, Instagram. We are going to get started. If you are new to me, hello and welcome. My name is Elise. I'm an actor, audiobook narrator, career and performance coach. And, if you're new to me or if you've been with me for a while, I feel very clear that it is part of my life's mission, if not most of my mission, to help people accomplish their dreams. I have always been a dream chaser, dream accomplisher, goal accomplisher myself. And I really believe strongly in that. So I'm the founder of The Global Actor, where I help actors live where they want and work when they want. And one of my favorite ways to do that is by helping actors and folks interested in becoming audiobook narrators and building a thriving audiobook career to support the rest of your creative life. So I do that inside the course, The Great Audiobook Adventure. But today you are here for just a live free training, or you might be listening to this on replay. If you are here live or in the replay, I encourage you to follow along in the comments. I'm going to ask you some questions. So if you want to interact with me in the comments, you are invited to, you're warmly invited to. And if you'd like to get the most out of today's training, I would love to encourage you to either open up a doc to work in or pull out a journal. I love journaling. That's what I will typically be doing when I take these kinds of trainings. But something where you can jot down what you remember from today's call, because my intention is that you not only take in today's information, but that you start really implementing it today, this week, this month. And later on this month, we're going to be doing a 5-day challenge for you to get even more motivated and organized for the year ahead. But today, I just invite you to land where you are. If you have a moment to grab something to drink, if you're not driving, if you're in a place where you can settle in, I invite you to settle in. We're going to be here together for about 30 minutes total. So with that, we'll get started. This is part 2 of a 3-part series that I'm doing called Release the Overwhelm. That's right, Release the Overwhelm. When I say that word overwhelm, what comes up for you? What comes up for me is that I start noticing where I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I would like for you to do that right now, is notice where you're feeling overwhelmed. Can you recognize it in your body? What happens when you're overwhelmed? Does your throat close? Do your shoulders tense? Do you have a headache? What are some ways that you experience physically experience overwhelm? So I asked the folks on Instagram Live, and I'm going to ask the folks here on Facebook, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your overwhelm feeling today? A 10 being you're extremely overwhelmed. You're literally just here to distract yourself from the overwhelm. And 1 being things are so chill and cool as a cucumber. There is not a worry in the world. For me today, I would say my overwhelm is a 4.5. So I'm feeling pretty good with that. And let me see what numbers came in Instagram. Let's see. I'm getting a 9, a 7. Okay. I'm seeing 7, 13. Oh my goodness. We're going to try to bring that 13 down to at least 8 if we can today. And let's see if by the end of today's call, we are able to move that number down a little bit. But I would love for you to check in. Tell me where you feel overwhelmed in your body. And if you're not used to checking in with your body, I want you to start getting used to it, because that's going to give us a lot of information. We are animals. Our bodies have a lot to tell us. Our bodies have been guiding us for, thousands of years, millennia, however long humans have been around. Our bodies have been there to inform us. And in today's world, many of us are not mindful of even listening to our body. We're used to doing things because people tell us to, or we're taking that advice from that person and that person and that person. And we actually haven't taken the time to see how the thing even feels in our body. Does that make sense? So where are you feeling overwhelmed? If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, where are you feeling it in your body? When I'm feeling overwhelmed, I feel a tenseness in my shoulders, and my throat constricts. That's usually where I feel it. I'm seeing, I know I'm overwhelmed when my immune system takes a dive. That's right. Has anybody ever experienced that you get sick when you are so overwhelmed and you've been pushing it for way too long? And maybe you've just been like working nonstop for three weeks with no days off, and your body just like gives up. That's, yeah, your immune system saying like, we can't move on. In your neck and shoulders. Yeah. Shoulders and jaw. That's a good one, Angela. I definitely get tenseness in my jaw as well. Okay, so now that we're aware of where our overwhelm is, now that we've done a check on a scale of 1 to 10, I want to let you know those are 2 tools that you have right now. So you have 2 tools already at your disposal, and it's my hope that today I give you a few tools that you can use to release the overwhelm. If you haven't yet, after today's training, I recommend going back and watching part 1 of this series where we talk about FOMO. I was really talking a lot about FOMO last week. And today we're going to break down actually what makes sense for you to keep doing and what makes sense for you to start like pruning from your schedule. So in the previous video, we were talking about how important it is to have blank space in your schedule, how important it is to just have downtime, to have thinking time, and how that is not the norm for most people. And some people, it's really hard to actually rest, or even if you do have time off, you're always feeling guilty that you're not getting something done. I'm sharing this training because I've done this and I'm continuing to do this work for myself. So I just want to share that with you, that this is an ongoing thing. It's not something that's going to be solved tomorrow, but I will say that the more you take time to do this mindful work and start implementing it, you're going to notice things shift over time. So you might not notice a change in how you're feeling next week, but next year, this time next year, if you really are thoughtful about this, it's really going to make some big, hopefully energy shifts for you, and things that were harder for you to achieve in the past will become easier. Okay, so we're going to get into the main work for today, which is I want us to be thinking about what are the actions that you're taking for your career. And by that, I mean, like, what are the things you do most often to move towards your goal? It could be a number of things. So if you've got a journal with you right now, I would love for you to just brain dump what are all of the actions that you're currently taking for your career. And I'm just going to give you like a minute to just brain dump. What are all of the actions that you're currently taking for your career? You're welcome to share in the comments too, if you prefer to work in that way, but if you want to journal on your own, that's really great. And if you're just joining us, hello and welcome. We are brain dumping all of the things that we're doing. What are all of the things that are filling our schedule right now? I'm going to give you about 10 more seconds to wrap that up. And it's okay if you haven't completed it. You can come back to this later. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you why I just had you do that brain dump, and then we're gonna take things to the next level. If you are driving right now, if you're in a place where you can't write this stuff down, no worries. This will be recorded, and you can come back and rewatch this and go through this training when you've got more time. But basically, I'm wondering, have you explored the idea that doing fewer things more often can actually get you to your goal quicker? I would love to just see like a one in the comments if that feels really weird to you. Put a two in the comments if that seems to make sense to you. I would just love to kind of like know if anyone has heard of this concept before, so I know where we're starting from today. Cool. I see some ones and twos. 1.5. Okay, cool. Great, great. I'm loving seeing that there are some twos and 1.5s coming up. And I'm going to talk about why. I'm going to talk about why finding the key things that are working for you and going all in there is going to be helpful. It's actually for many reasons, but one of them is once you figure out how to do something well and you just keep implementing it, first of all, it's going to take way less energy for you to continue implementing it. So as like one action idea, like say I'm working, say publisher reach outs, say I'm an audiobook narrator and I'm doing publisher reach outs. Once I get the rhythm going on publisher reach outs, if I know that's the thing and I know how to do it and I know how to keep recreating that and updating it every month or every quarter, I don't have to start from scratch. I start from scratch one time, and it's like that creation of the first time you're doing something that takes the most effort. But once you've figured that out, once you know how to work it for you, and once you've received results from that, it's going to take way less energy for you to do it a second time, a third time, a fourth time. By the 20th time you're doing it, it barely takes, it barely takes as much emotional energy and strategic energy as it used to. So I want you to start thinking about that. Just like the amount of energy it takes you to do an action is going to be less if it's something you're very experienced with. And if you haven't perfected it, like say for instance, a publisher reach out, it's easier to like tweak things versus starting all over again. So if say for instance, you are thinking of doing publisher reach outs and maybe a TikTok campaign and like building your TikTok following. The act of building a TikTok following is made up of so many actions. And if it's not proven to work yet, you're going to need a lot of energy to build that and understand all of your goals around that, the actions you can be consistent around there, and having like an idea of taking like note of what's working and what isn't working with that. So a TikTok following, building a TikTok following is going to take so much more energy, and you don't necessarily know if it's going to work if you've never done it before. I'm not saying don't build a TikTok following. I'm just giving an example. If you know something is working well for you, I want you to keep that thing going because it's going to take less energy. If there's something you want to try that's new and you're not sure if it's going to work yet, I want you to give yourself permission for it to be an experiment. And I want you to treat it as such. If you're new to working with me, I want to stress to you, you are the owner of your business. As an actor, as a narrator, you own your company. You are number one in your company. You are a CEO. And if you haven't been thinking like a CEO, I want you to start thinking like a CEO right now. Today's conversation is a CEO conversation. Okay? We're talking about the 80-20 rule, the 20-80 rule. I don't know if you've heard of this before. Put a 1 in the comments if you've heard of the 80-20 rule. And we're going to get into that right now. So right now you have in front of you a list of actions, okay? A list of things you are currently doing or a list of things you could be doing for your career. Now, the 80-20 rule tells us, and this has been studied for, you could Google it, Google 80-20 rule if you want to find out more. You can do lots of deep dives. There are lots of podcast episodes on this on various podcasts. But for today, what's worked for me with this 80-20 rule is what it means is there are about 20% of the actions that you're taking that are actually bringing you in 80% of your success, 80% of those results. So it's up to us to figure out what are those 20% of your actions that are working for you right now. So say you've got a list of 10 actions that you're consistently doing or you're doing once in a while. I'm going to give you another part of this in a moment. But what I want you to be aware of is that there's probably like 2 actions out of those 10 that are the things that are leading to the most consistent results. So by doing less, what does that mean? It means ultimately, I want you to subtract those 8 other things that are not bringing you the results, because it's probably a waste of your time. Okay? Doesn't mean it's always a waste of time. Doesn't mean you can never do those things again. It's just we don't want to be putting a lot of energy into those things. And to be strategic, I want you to go all in on the 20% that's working. Okay, so if you're just joining us, we have a list of the actions that you're currently taking for your career, and we've kind of brainstormed that. Okay, now I want you to make a second column or a second section. I think a second column, I didn't tell you it was going to be 2 columns, but ideally you have 2 columns. One is the actions you're taking. The other, now I want you to list a bunch of results that you've received in the past few months, okay? Results can look like, obviously it can look like bookings. It can look like relationships. It can look like responses you've received. It can look like revenue coming in. It can look like whatever feels like a positive result for you, okay? So take a moment and list the positive results that you have received. And if you're getting anxiety just thinking about it, or if you're overwhelmed just thinking about it, I invite everyone to just take a big, deep breath. In through your nose, sigh it out through your mouth. Okay, so you're listing out your results. Okay, and I'm going to have you stop wherever you're at. I'm sure some of you may have finished this list. Others may need more time. You can come back to this. But what I want you to do next is take a look at the results and see if you can figure out what that result was because of. What action led to that result? And if you can figure out which it was, make a line from the result to the action you took that led to it. So we should see a bunch of lines happening from your results to whatever action it was that led to that result. And some ways to figure out, say, I'm going to use the example of the publisher reach out again. You might know that you've been reaching out consistently to this publisher and you've received a book from them, then that is the result that led to it. You may know that you are really successful at networking events, and when you meet someone in person or virtually, you click, and maybe an offer that you got or an invitation to a roster you got was because of that in-person meeting. So whatever it is for you, make all those lines, and then you should see a trend. Hopefully you see a trend. If you don't see a trend, we can dive deeper into that on a future training, or you can let me know if you have questions about this. But hopefully there is a trend that is leading to a few or one action that is consistently working. And now I want to invite you to lead with that action and subtract the actions that are not working for you. These might be actions that work for other people, but not for you and where you're at right now. And what we want to do is we want to build upon the success that is working. It makes no sense for you to stop doing something that's working and then go throw yourself into this other effort. So I just want to underline that. Hopefully that's common sense, but it might not be common sense. So these couple actions that you're finding are leading to results. Let's talk about them. What are they for you? What is the action that you're taking that is leading to results? And again, it might be different for everyone. So I would love for you to share in the comments, if you'd like to, what that action is for you. Oh my gosh. All right. I love this. Does it make sense that I'm overwhelmed because my actions are working too well? Wow. Okay. If your actions are working too well, if you have too much success coming, that's great. That's really wonderful. I love that. Is that what you mean? Because then what we need to do is we need to build out your bandwidth. And there are ways we can do that. We'll definitely be talking about that later on this year. There's 2 events coming up where we're going to be diving deeper into all of these concepts, and a lot of other things. But we've got the free Dream Big Plan Smart Challenge happening November 28th through December 2nd, and we'll be talking a lot about it both on Instagram and here in the Global Actors Facebook group. But also we're going to be doing an annual planning retreat inside Momentum Club, which is going to be a full day event. And we will be talking about bandwidth. For some people, it will be building a team or contracting things. But yes, I think that does make sense if you're overwhelmed because your actions are working too well. So what we want to do is we're going to want to find ways to automate actions, to automate and delegate. Okay. So we'll dive into that in a future training, but that's a wonderful problem to have. So for you, automate and delegate will be what you're going to want to work on. Okay. Does anybody, I'm not seeing any actions. So has anybody figured out what their actions are? Feel free to share 1 or 2 in the comments, just so I can see what that is, what's working. Okay, cool. So once you find those actions, it is my challenge to you that you go all in on what's working and you release what isn't working. And that is where you're going to hopefully really just, this is where we have that knob that we can turn up and down of how much work is coming in. If the actions are working, we know, and we can plan for the results. We can plan for our schedule. Okay. So today, that's what we're talking about. The do less is do less kinds of actions more often. That doesn't mean overdo it. It doesn't mean if publisher reach outs are working for you that you're just doing publisher reach outs every day, all day, every day. The cool thing is these actions don't need to take a lot of time. And by removing the other things, I want you to leave some time free for you to be. For you to be. We are human beings, not human doings. I'm going to say that again. We are human beings, not human doings. So if you are basing your worth on what you're doing, we have to check that. You have intrinsic value just by being you. And I think we all need to practice that. It's okay to just be. I'm not saying everybody just go eat bonbons all day and hang out on your couch. For some of us, that's actually wouldn't bring us joy because there's other things we want to be doing. But I want you to release the overwhelm, which means the only way we do that is by having downtime, right? Okay, so I've got some final steps for you to take, and then I'm going to open up to questions. So if you know you have a question, please drop it in the comments right now. Anything that I spoke about today, leave that there in the comments right now, and I will give you some thoughts. Okay, so imagine stopping everything that you're doing except the actions that are working? How much more room would there be in your schedule? I just want to let you know that's an option. So, what is your 20%? What are your 20% actions? And what is just one action you can explore cutting out this week and definitely by the end of the month? What is one action you're taking right now that is not leading to results that you know you can take out starting this week, definitely by the end of the month? I would love to hear what that is for you. Please share that if you would like to. Very much in line with what you're saying. I'm making sure to strengthen the strong relationships I have with certain people that utilize my skills on a regular basis rather than taking them for granted. I love that, JT. Certainly do some outreach into new markets and areas, but not at the exclusion of people who have been loyal to my brand. I love that. That's it. Like, the point is for us to have like a few to several strong clients so that we don't always have to be like looking to new clients. Again, building a new client takes more energy, more effort than working with the same client. Okay, cool. What is one action you are taking out? What's one action you're taking out? I haven't seen anybody. I'm going to wait for one person to respond to this before I wrap here. Oh my gosh, Catherine, I'm so glad you asked this. How long should you try things before you decide they aren't working? I meant to say this. Thank you for bringing that up. I recommend you try something for 3 to 6 months and you track it and you really look at the evidence before you decide it's not working. So in many cases, we need a full 6 months of something to know if it's working or not, or it might be then time to tweak it. I would go a full 3 to 6 months before tweaking or giving up on it. That's a great question, Catherine. Cool. All right. Oh, good. Networking. Networking was either the thing, I can't tell if that was the thing that the action that's working, that your 20%. I think that is your 20%. And if anybody has any other questions, I'll stay on for one more minute. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to those folks on Instagram. Thanks to the folks in the Facebook group. I have one more part to this training, which will be happening next week. And then if you like the work we're doing here, we have a full free 5-day challenge coming up at the end of November. It's called the Dream Big Plan Smart Challenge. It begins on November 28th. This time next week, I will have that link for you so that you can register for it. It's going to be an awesome, exciting 5 days of dreaming big and planning smart. And then if you know you want to go deeper into the details of any of this training, we will be having a full day annual planning retreat inside Global Actor Momentum Club, and that is happening on Saturday, December 17th. So if you know that's something you want to be a part of, I'll have more information for you later on. But thank you so much, and I really, really appreciate you being here. I'm going to answer one question that just came in. Candace said, I guess what I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around is that I've got a good amount of work scheduled through January, but I need to hustle still right now to get things booked after that, right? Okay, Candace, great. I don't want you to hustle. I want you to look at what the actions are. So I don't want you to be taking 10 actions to fill in your project board. I'm hoping that there are 1 or 2 actions that have been working for you. Have you found that to be true for you? Have you, in doing this brainstorm, have you found your couple actions that are consistently working? And if so, let me know what they are. Because what I want you to do is go all in on them. Does that make sense? And you've got to like release the other ones. Don't do the other ones. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate everyone being here today. If you're just joining us, no worries. We're going to wrap, but this will be available on replay. And we'll be back here next week to do part 3 of the training, and we're going to just keep this conversation going. I would love to hear on a scale of 1 to 10. It's okay if this number hasn't changed for you, but share anyway. What's the level of overwhelm you're feeling right now? 10 being really, really so overwhelmed, like you can barely move right now. 1 being cool as a cucumber. I am I'm a 3. What are you? Okay, and I am going to let us know. Oh, 11. Well, you just joined us, Chris, so I really want for you to watch the replay and then check in and let me know again. And feel free to leave any questions here, and I'll come back and check in on you later. Okay, good. Good. I'm glad to see these changes. All right, have a really great day. Please be kind to yourself if you haven't yet. Give yourself a big hug. You're doing hard things. I mean it. Like, give yourself a hug if you can. If you're in a place where you can do that, close your eyes if you can and just like, thank you. Thank you. Thank yourself for being here. There's a whole lot of self-love and self-care all connected to this overwhelm topic, and you're doing some of that by being here today. So, thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to say bye to Instagram. Really, really appreciate you. And I hope to see you next week for our training then. It's going to be Tuesday, just so you know. Tuesday next week at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, if you would like to join us live for that. And okay, great. And thank you, Facebook. Thanks, Facebook group community, for joining us today. And I'm wishing you a great week. If you haven't committed to it yet, what is the one action you are going to stop doing this week and definitely going to stop doing by the end of the month? Let us know in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you soon. I'm cheering you on always.